Yes, I'm a category B on Zwift Power, but on Zwift, I saw that I was just downgraded into a C. Hey, second community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. Pro tip, don't be playing on your iPhone when the race is about to start. Even though this is a categorized race, there was a conversation going on implying that certain riders maybe should be a category B. By the time I entered the staging pen, I think they were focusing on another rider. After I posted my good morning and then talked about having this race with commentary on my YouTube channel, my name momentarily entered the conversation, which I was pretty surprised about. True, I am a category B on Zwift Power. After Zwift itself developed an algorithm to start categorizing racers, I was also a category B in Zwift's eyes also. At least until I went to sign up for a race today. It had been a while since I've done a race. And it's been raining a lot over here, and I decided, I have a hankering to do a race. So, when I went to sign up, I saw that category C was available to me, so I signed up for that one. While I love to race, whether it's on Zwift or on the road, it's more fun when I'm competitive, and with the Bs, I'm not very competitive. Especially if you've seen my videos, you know that I'm not very competitive. Let's take a moment and jump to the action on the screen. We're about 30 seconds into this race. We're pretty stretched out, as you can tell by the map insert in the upper right hand corner of the screen. I am very thankful that I'm now toward the front, and it looks like this is going to be turning into a front group. It all depends on the next 30-60 seconds. We have 64 racers in the category C, in which 47 finished. I haven't gone through and looked through the ages of the finishers, but I'm going to guess that if I'm not the oldest guy out here, I am darn close to it. In another 2.5 months, I'll be 68. If there are any other 60 pluses on this race, give me a comment below. Let me know that you were out here. We are now about a minute into this race. When you look at the graphics in the upper right hand corner, that little map there, then we have a group. How big is the group? I really can't tell yet. I know it's at least 30, could be as much as 50. The course that we're racing on is the Glasgow Crit course. Now my favorite course before this course was the Dolphin course. I think it was like backwards where you're going up that cobbled climb. I always liked that because you always had to have power on that section, and then I forced myself to recover, and then I had that little rolling section that I have to also work at. Now in this case, we have a number of climbs, and the big climb we're coming up on is a short big climb, but it's longer than that cobbled climb on that Dolphin course. Maybe it's because I see pain as a beneficial ally. This course is now my favorite course. Speaking of pain, we just passed the start of the sprint point, and if you look up ahead, you'll see that climb. That's the climb I'm referring to. Ordinarily, when you're doing an equivalent climb like this on the road, the best place to be is like where I am right now. You're toward the front, and so that you can drift back if you need to. I'm not sure if that's the best technique for me. Now, if you notice on the right-hand side with the graphics in terms of the watts per kilogram, I'm putting a lot of power out, but not as much as a lot of other people are. I can't even get to 6.0 watts per kilogram, and there's people that are doing 7 plus. Well, look at that, I did hit 6.0. Well, you can see by my happy face that I'm pretty reamed at this point, so I am thankful it's starting to go downhill. In retrospect, that's probably the best technique I can use on this hill. Now, if I was a lot more powerful, what I would do is be at the front and push at the front, and then there'd be less people that would pass me by. But, I don't have those legs. So now we're coming up into another little climb, but people are dialing back a bit, and I'm thankful for that, and I just have to be careful not to drift off the front. I found myself doing that too much in this race. Now, when I get off the front, that wouldn't keep the power up. I'd dial back a bit, but what happens is you almost create this harmonic oscillation where you're kind of drifting off the front, and you try to overcompensate, and you're drifting off the back and have to apply more power. That kind of sucks. I'll definitely have to do a better job at that. Going back to the conversation of strong riders on this race, there are 3 that have broken away. You can look at their progress using that map insert in the upper right hand corner. Now this section is mostly downhill, so unless they're really pushing it, these guys will not have a very good chance of staying away. I texted my buddy Bob last night telling him I was going to do the Dolphin Crit today, but he told me about this race. Now he's in one of the Zwift racing leagues, and he was saying that you're going to have a lot of people out here testing this course because they're going to be racing it for their league on Tuesday. He stated, now that I've been downgraded, it'd be a great opportunity for me to test my form against everyone else in this race, particularly since most everyone is going to have a race team associated with their particular avatar's name. Through the magic of video editing, we just jumped ahead to the second lap heading into that main climb. We pulled in those 3 riders that were on the breakaway, and even though there was some ups and downs, we pretty much were recovering so we can hit this climb again. Or maybe that was just me. I am not in the best position heading into this climb. I'm 20th out of 22, and there's a couple of riders about 6 seconds back, and the rest are about 18 seconds back. So this group has shrunk. I'm doing just over 6 watts per kilo, and for me, that's getting close to my top end, if it's not my top end, and I have to maintain that high amount of wattage. Fortunately, I'm able to stay connected and move up just a little bit as we top out on this right curve. As we're going down, this is a great place to recover, but recover is easier said than done. This part's kind of like doing over-unders, where you are recovering under stress. And you can see what that looks like just by looking at my face. As we hit another climb, I am just about at the butt end and we are stretched out. I am looking for wheels that will drag me up there, but then you have to be careful about that, because if you find a wheel and they're not actually producing what you want them to produce to get you up there, then there's a gap and then things just get tougher. Fortunately, I'm able to stay with this group. And a lot of that's because I'm doing almost 400 watts just to be able to reconnect with them. And finally, so now I take another little bit of a breather. Again, recovering under stress. And again, I'm drifting off the front, which I shouldn't be. Jumping ahead to the lead-in to that power climb, lap 3. Now, I'm in a bad position. I am the 17th out of 18 people. I now have to apply more power just to move up to the front of the group before we start this climb, which I'm able to do. So now I'm continuing to apply that power. I'm going over 400 watts. I'm approaching 6 watts per kilogram, but I'm not able to maintain that. I'm hoping to grab a wheel. There's a lot of people in front of me, but there's a lot of people behind me, so I'm doing okay. I'm in 7th position right now out of the 18, so I'm pretty safe. I just need to get on these guys' wheels and then not worry too much, because we will all come back together again, or at least we should. That being stated, we do have a couple off the front and a couple of chasers that are trying to get together. That of course will put more pressure on the rest of us, and in my case it'll be more recovering under stress. It looks like that they're not going to be able to stay away. We still have those 2 there. We're catching the 2 chasers, and we should be all together by the time I jump to the next lap, which is right about now. We lost a few more riders, so now we're a group of 15. I am again toward the back of these 15, heading into the main climb, but I'm applying more power, but not as much. It's easier to move up. I think everybody's just a little bit tired, or just taking a little bit of a easier time up this, so unless somebody really pops right now, I should be able to stay easier with the group. But there I am, look, got my face going again. I'm doing almost 500 watts. I'm doing now more watts per kilogram than I've done on the previous climbs. I got to stay connected. Looks like I'm going to be able to. It was on this lap I could tell that I was starting to hurt a little more than I was hurting previously. The confidence I had in the first 3 laps for this race now are starting to wane. It was here where I was just starting to question myself as to whether I was going to be with everyone out to finish. There are 2 riders that are not having the same thoughts that I am, and that was the 2 that are on a breakaway again. We pretty much pull them back as we get to the top of that next climb. We've now jumped to the same spot on the penultimate lap. We've lost another couple riders. We're down to a group of 12. Riders that you see up ahead, just like this heading into that climb, they're lapped riders. We've been encountering a number of them. This could be where the strongest of the strong jump away and either solo in or form a small group and try to hold it to the end. My power is starting to wane, and I see a number of orange numbers on the right-hand side. There's a lot of people pulling away. They're trying to do that small group breakaway. My face on the left will show you that I've gone over 6 watts per kilogram on the right, and now we're over the top, but it's not letting up. I need to stay on people's wheels just so I can get just a little bit of recovery, and I'm not there yet. There's that close the gap thing that I hate, but it's showing me that I got to keep going here. So now it's what, 3 meters, 5 meters? It's hard to tell at this angle, but finally I make connection, and now I can start to recover. Again, recover under stress. There's no small breakaways right now because everyone was punching it. As you can see, I'm trying to suck in that oxygen, and I'm not pedaling very smoothly at the moment. Which brings us to the 2 things I have going through my mind. 1, I need to recover. 2, the power they need to get over that climb with everybody is ebbing away. Here it is, the last lap. No one has dropped off. We're still a group of 12. I am smack in the middle of the group right behind that front row. I'm punching it because everyone else is punching it. That means the effort I have to do going up this climb is going to be a lot longer. Lewis M. from Coalition is doing what I wish I could do. He's doing over 10 watts per kilogram in an effort to jump away and just hold it to the end. I see a lot more orange numbers on the right graphics as everyone's just inside it. and I can't even get to 6 watts per kilogram. My only chance is for me to keep pushing while everyone else slows down when we get over the top. In the other laps, we never slowed over this top, and when I look ahead, there is a solo breakaway when you look at the map inlay on the top and being chased by another person. I have now dropped to below 4 watts per kilogram. I look behind me, so to speak, using the graphics on the right, and I see that there's no one that can catch me. Conversely, the small gap I have to the people in front of me is a huge distance at this point in the race, with 1.5 kilometers to go. But I see somebody in front of me, so that's my little rabbit. I also take a look at the graphics on the right. I see that this is a lapped rider. Regardless, there may be somebody else in front of him that I can catch that is dropping off the main group. It looks like we have a front group that's maybe about 6 people, and everything is strung out, and we have some people that are dropping off. So the closest to me are about 5 and 6 seconds. Yeah, that's pretty huge. That rider that you see in front of me, yep, that's another lapped rider. As I'm putting this video together and I see myself rolling in, I'm thinking about the original comments from the beginning of the video. Here I was downgraded to category C on Zwift Power. I'm still a category B. For you youngins out there, things just get tougher when you get older. Now in this case, in this situation, that means that any power that I have, I can't sustain for as long as I used to. If I was one of the Zwift programmers and I would see me as a younger rider, then I would look at my algorithm and say, maybe I need to do a little tweaking. Maybe that programmer looking at me as an older rider thinking, yeah, maybe this is more appropriate. Based on what I've experienced, whenever a rider upgrades to a category, there's always a bit of a shock. Given enough time and effort through a good training plan, that upgraded riders should improve and have a lot more fun competing in that particular category. The same should hold for me, but as I said earlier, when you get old, things just get tougher. Back to the action on the screen, I am chasing a rider that's dropped from my group. He's about 2 seconds, now 1 second in front of me. We have 0.2 miles to go. I'm looking at his watts per kilogram and he's probably looking at mine. That little map insert shows that he's probably chasing somebody, but I'm a lot closer to him than he is to the person. I'm doing just a few tenths more watts per kilogram than he is. There is now less than 1,000 feet, and this is it for both of us. Both emptying our tanks as we cross the start of the official sprint segment. My face is telling me that I'm putting everything into it as I'm able to hold more power longer than he is. But there's not a lot of distance left. We're now under 300 feet, under 200 feet. This is it. Son of a gun. It's not often that I see this. For the C's, I came in 12th place. On ZwiftPower.com, they said I exceeded the power parameters. Go figure. My weight is around 74 kilograms, which is what I have listed in Zwift, and my FTP I have listed as 270 watts, which is pretty accurate. Let me know what you all think on the subject. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. As always, remember, comment, like, subscribe, The Cycling Greek.